Well, hey everybody, here we are today. Give me a second, we'll turn around and I'll look at my phone to see what the date is. But we're out here on our, it's August 23rd. This is our new seeding oats and alfalfa ground, and obviously we already hayed the oats off quite a while ago. It was seeded May 1st, 2018. And yeah, this is second cutting on new seeding alfalfa. There's places I kind of wish I could leave it just a little bit longer, but with our wet growing season this year and our delayed first cutting with the oats, I've decided that I'm going to cut it now and I'm not going to cut it again the rest of the year. We're just going to let it grow. And it is places it's blooming pretty good, so it's made it to maturity, but there's the creek all drowned out, and there's a few spots over there that's drowned out, a couple little holes over here, but overall I'm very, very happy with this field on how it looks. I was going to sell this in the field or in the windrow to a person who could square bale it, but it had too many weeds in it. I talked on my spraying video, spraying the grasses out, that I was thinking about spraying it for the broadleaves. And in that time period there, we just had too many days of hot weather. I was going to spray it with Buctrol, which you have to spray when it's 3 consecutive days lower than 80 degrees, or 80 degrees should be the max. Otherwise you'll damage the alfalfa. So it did cool off finally and whatnot, but the alfalfa was too far along. And I just decided, you know, I'm just going to take this cutting off and take the weeds with it, and then we'll see what comes back. And if we got to spray it, we should be able to spray it now. Have to do a little more reading on the label on that, but like I said, it's just a beautiful thick stand. I'm just very happy with it. Just looks really good. With the wet weather this spring, it was questionable how it was going to turn out, because I was afraid a lot of it drowned out, but you can see up in this little knoll there's quite a few pigweeds and whatnot, but those aren't Roundup resistant pigweeds, but this isn't Roundup ready alfalfa. I do have some Roundup resistant kochia out here, which is why I don't really necessarily care for Roundup. We've got enough Roundup resistant problems the way it is. Certain places Roundup alfalfa may be the way to go, but I feel between Buctrol and Select, we can really do a good enough job keeping the weeds under control in our alfalfa field without using the Roundup product, especially with where we're at with the Roundup resistance on our other crops. Just don't need another one to add to it. And also, after the first year, I kind of feel, for the most part, if you got to spray it very much, you have very many weed problems, your stand is dwindling and it should be possibly just gotten rid of. Alfalfa is a very deep-rooted crop, and I just don't like mining all that moisture out. I think when it's in alfalfa too long, it actually just, the production goes down, and you still get hay off of it. But on the other hand, you might be able to be more productive by switching it out more often with other farm ground acres than trying to keep the same field. I think that would help with the smoothness of the field as far as moles and badgers and things like that, to keep rotating it around to different crops. But I'm going to go past this little drowned out spot and we're going to get out and walk around. It's a little windy today, but I'm just going to go ahead and, there's a rock right there. We're going to pick up that rock too. But anyhow, we're going to get out and we'll go from there. Don't want to forget about the rock. I am leaving a pretty wide windrow. Where did that little rock go? That actually might have been a piece of concrete. That's actually, I think, what it was. Go walk out here. And see, I cut pretty close to the ground. Some of you people might not like how close that is, but that's what I've been taught, to cut it clean to the ground if you can. It actually grows back better when you get down close to the ground, so I don't start trying to grow off what you leave like this. It takes too much energy to rebuild that. It's better to start over, the plant to start over. But it is starting to be all twisted and tangly. The mare's tail. But yeah, look at that. I don't know, I think that looks awful good. Really fine stems on that. Now, I've had the question about the corn stalks on my no-till. So far, I have never had the corn stalks be an issue. You can see there's corn stalks here. A rake really shouldn't have to be eating dirt to rake the windrows together, so it's really not hasn't been a problem here anyhow. Possibly going dairy hay if you no-till direct seed and don't take the first crop off for cow feed like we do. It might be a little bit different situation on that, but I'm not sure on that, to be honest. I don't grow dairy hay, so that's that. I do hope to start doing more selling more hay for the dairy. I feel with the commodity prices right now that hay is a great rotation to have in. We've kind of tried it out this year a little bit and been somewhat happy with it, so I think we're going to continue to explore that option to keep rotating more farm ground in and out of hay instead of just having, we've only had like 50 to 100 acres, and I'm thinking maybe instead of having 50 to 100, have like 150 maybe total of alfalfa or something like that. So we don't grow a lot of alfalfa. We really don't need it in our backgrounding and feeding operation. Generally it just, we can do things other way to get our protein. And that's another thing I'm going to touch on. This hay feed here is definitely really way too good to be just feeding an old cow-calf pair. And the reason I say that is because you start feeding too much protein to animals, and you don't have something to dilute that protein down, you're gonna give them the shits. And so that's kind of where we're at with our operation, is we really don't need the protein. Most of the time we do supplement alfalfa bales when we're on corn stalks. We kind of started doing that more last year, and that's just to keep the protein up. Instead of buying protein tubs and things like that, we just unroll alfalfa bales out there, and so far we've been happy with that. It is easier just throwing out lick tubs, but on the other hand, it's nice to go out and look at the cattle once in a while too and see how they're doing. But anyhow, I guess we'll hopefully I'll get video of actually raking and baling this field now. I don't think I'm going to be going anywhere. The first cutting I missed out on raking it in, baling it, so I guess we're going to go from there. Here's a thin spot. I'm probably going to reseed some of that too. But I'm going to say 95% of this field is great. Another 5% is poor as far as thin stand, and there's probably maybe less than 1% that's actually totally drowned it out. I don't know how to do it for sure, but it's pretty good. So I guess we'll see you guys on the next part of this video, and we'll go from there. Well, hey, as you guys see, we're getting awful close to being done here. My intentions, I wanted to show you guys where it's not quite as good. This is kind of a low area right in here. And from just past some bales this way down towards this creek, it kind of starts going downhill again. But it's just, for some reason, it's not very good in here. So we are gonna re-drill some of this here, hopefully this fall. Once we start getting some regrowth, we're gonna come out and see where it's not, and we'll regrow it. But I actually got cottonwood trees growing right down here, going through this low bottom here. So thought I'd just show that. We're gonna go clear to the other end, and then on the way back, we're gonna stop somewhere in the middle of this cornfield and look at it. But I gotta take that, and I'll be back. Alright, well, we got off the phone here just in time to get to the other end. But down here, as you can see, it is pretty good down here. Hardly any weeds down here. There's a weed here and there, but it's very good, I think. But anyhow, another perk with cutting with my auto steer here is my last pass will be perfect for my head on my swather here. I'll just stay on this side. So that's always pretty nice to not have to worry about having a little sliver to come back and pick up. There we go. So we're gonna get about in the middle of this cornfield and walk out there a little ways. For the people who stuck around that long, I guess you guys will get a sneak peek at the corn. I haven't done any corn videos or nothing for a while, so well, some of you guys might like it, and be some way to say thanks for watching as long as you did. But been running about 10 miles an hour. I really just feel that's about perfect for cutting hay. Could go faster, but I just don't think it's necessary. But be interesting to see how many bales we get off this field. This is a little bit more expensive alfalfa than we normally used to plant, and it seems like it grew back after we cut it a lot faster than the other stuff. So some of that I'm sure had to do with the weather, the rain amount, and just the conditions this year. But some of it I'm sure is from the more expensive alfalfa. But we're gonna jump out here and go check our cornfield as we're throwing stuff out of the cab. This is where I kind of started. It's wilted pretty good already. Several with double ears. I don't know if that double ear is going to amount to anything or not, but there's a worm in there. I'm just going to take this one. $20 around. I'm gonna say it's 30 long is all, but that's an all right plant. These ears, I think they'll be all right. A pretty good stand. You can see on some of these leaves the bottoms kind of got burnt, and like this one actually got burnt. We had someone come out here and wide drop, and that's when the fertilizer gets dropped down a tube in the center, and it's got the two tubes that run along the corn. And the corn was pretty tall, so they weren't able to get this low to the ground is what we wanted. But they did burn some of these bottom leaves. That's a lot of this why they're burnt. But I don't think it hurt our yield or nothing like that. But anyhow, I guess hopefully you guys find that interesting. Like a jungle out here. It's awful hot and humid in the cornfield. It's not too bad out of it, but the wind's blowing. So being in there, it's not very comfortable. But as you can see, I'm on the last pass, and yes, we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.